December is about to get messy. AFCON is back and a lot of Premier League teams are going to be missing players. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how these misses are going to be affecting these clubs and which clubs are missing the most players. We are going to be starting off with the teams that are least affected by the AFCON. This is not a tier list, so don't expect me to rank them by the number of players that I'm going to be ranking them by the effects the players they are losing is going to have on their season. So of all 20 Premier League teams, there are only 3 teams that are not missing any players, and that's Arsenal, Leeds, and Chelsea. They are chilling. They are not missing any team. And I was quite surprised by Chelsea. I was thinking like, Chelsea are supposed to, because Chelsea are one of the teams that are always having an African player somewhere in there. And probably Tosin was probably the one that was confusing me. In number 17, we have the least affected amongst the teams that are actually losing players to the AFCON, and that's Aston Villa. Aston Villa are going to be losing Evan Gerrard. Evan Gerrard is a solid player, but he has not been an important player for Aston Villa. He has not quite hit the ground running since his transfer this season. So Unai Emery shouldn't really be hard pressed because he's missing, because he has a lot of other forwards to call upon. Although his forwards have not been firing on all cylinders, but that's a story for another day. And up next, we have Newcastle. For Newcastle, it's also more of the same. They have Yohan Wissa. Yohan Wissa has not even played a single minute for Newcastle, so I don't really think they are going to miss him. At least Evan Gerrard has played a few minutes here and there for Aston Villa. Yohan Wissa has played 0 minutes for Newcastle this season. And the reason I'm ranking Newcastle ahead of Aston Villa is that Newcastle desperately need another source of goals. They have Fotamade, obviously, but Fotamade has not been scoring. Like, it's not like he was scoring 10 goals or something. I think he's on 6 or 7 goals. 6, 7. That was not funny. Yeah, I think he has 6 or 5 goals or thereabouts this season. So he's not really the striker that you can rely on long term as the only source of goals for the team. And Anthony Gordon has not been firing. Anthony Elanga has not been firing. So he actually needs Yohan Wissa, but it remains to be seen if the Yohan Wissa that is going to be coming back from injury is the same Wissa that we saw at Brentford. Up next, we have Bournemouth. Bournemouth are also going to be missing one player, but they are a team that their depth is going to be tested by this absence. They are going to be missing Amin Adli. He's yet to win the full trust of Andoni Iraola, but he has been making appearances here and there, and I think he has grabbed a couple of goals in the Premier League. So it's also going to be missed, especially with the threadbare squad that Bournemouth carry around. It would have been catastrophic for them if Antoine Semenyo was going to the AFCON, but thank God for them, Ghana didn't qualify. I'm not going to trash talk Ghana because I know they are going to say that they qualified for the World Cup, so let me keep shut my mouth. Up next is Manchester City, who are missing 2 players, Omar Mamouche and Ryan Aït-Nouri. If this list was about ranking players based on individual ability, obviously Manchester City are going to be towards the top. But when the players that are missing for you were already injured for the most part of the season, you are probably going to be chilling. Up next is Tottenham. Tottenham are going to be losing potentially 2 players, which are Pape Matar Sarr and Yves Bissouma. Pape Matar Sarr is probably one of the most improved Tottenham players under Thomas Frank this season, and he has been ever present for them this season. So it's going to be a big miss for them. But Yves Bissouma has had a knee injury. I think he's working his way back. He'll be back soon. So he has not been able to make a lot of appearances this season, or he has not even made any appearances this season, I think. So Yves Bissouma is not really going to be missed, even though they need more bodies in the midfield. But Pape Matar Sarr is going to be like he has been one of their most important players this season, so they are going to really, really miss him. For them also, they are also going to benefit from Ghana also not qualifying for the AFCON, because Mohamed Kudus will be available throughout the summer, and that's much needed attacking firepower for them, even though Mohamed Kudus doesn't really have a lot of firepower so far this season. Up next is Brighton. They are back to teams missing just 1 player, but the player that they are missing is very, very important to them. Carlos Baleba was valued at over £100 million over the summer when Manchester United tried to buy him. So that underlines his importance to Brighton. Although his form has taken a nosedive this season, he's still a very, very important player for them, and it will be very, very hard for them to replace him. In number 11, we have Brentford. Brentford were one of the teams that a lot of people thought were going to struggle this season because of the outgoing players that they had, and including losing their manager. But they've taken that personally this season, and they've been very, very good under Keith Andrews this season. One of their best players, Dango Ouattara, is going to the AFCON. So that's going to be a big miss for them. Dango Ouattara has been one of the best wingers in the league this season. He has been scoring goals, he has been assisting. Fantastic player for my FPL, I'm going to say. And they are going to miss him. They are also going to miss Frank Onyeka of Nigeria. Frank Onyeka is not as important as Ouattara, obviously. He has been a beast pass player for them this season, but depth cannot be understated in the Premier League. Is also going to be missed. Up next is West Ham, and they are going to be missing Aaron Wan-Bissaka and El Hadji Malik Diop. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been fantastic for West Ham since he joined. Although they are in the relegation battle and they've been boosted by hiring Nuno Espirito Santo as their manager, they are still going to be affected. It's really, really hard for these small teams to take the heat of the AFCON because they have threadbare squads. They don't have a lot of quality outside their first 11 like the bigger teams. If it was somebody like Arsenal, and I'm still very, very surprised, like teams like Arsenal, teams like Chelsea are not going to be missing any players to the AFCON. And they have the biggest squads in the league and they are not missing any players. But teams like West Ham are going to be missing two of their most important players. Wan-Bissaka, I cannot overstate how Wan-Bissaka has been very, very important to West Ham this season. At Manchester United, he looked like a player that could not do anything going forward. But when he went to West Ham, he won their player of the season last season. So he's one of their most important players. He was their best player last season. Like by evidence, by the award, if we are going by the award, he was their best player last season. So he's going to be sorely missed by them also. Up next is Liverpool. Ordinarily, it would be a big miss for Liverpool because Salah is their best player. But this season, he has not been playing that like their best player, and this will probably be a good time for Liverpool to lose Salah because they'll be able to test a replacement for Salah throughout the time that he's gone. Because even their last game, they didn't play him, which could be interpreted as an slot, testing out like different players, different tactics for when he's going to actually be missing Salah to the AFCON. We've seen an slot try Jeremy Frimpong at right wing this season. I think in the last match, he played Gakpo at right wing. So he has tried a lot of no, was it Gakpo or Szoboszlai? So in a roundabout kind of way, it could be a good team for Liverpool, but it's still Mohamed Salah. You cannot understate his importance to this Liverpool team. Up next is Crystal Palace, who are going to be missing 4 players potentially. They are going to be missing Ismail Assar, they are going to be missing Chris Santos Uche, they are going to be missing Chadi Riyad and Sheikh Doucouré. Doucouré is likely to miss the tournament through injury, but Ismail Assar is their most important, like you can say maybe Mateta is one of their most important players, but behind the scenes, Ismail Assar has been doing great things for that club. I think he has been involved in 8 goals and 2 assists across 16 games in all competition. That's very, very big for a club like Crystal Palace that find it hard to find sources of goals outside of Mateta. So he's going to be sorely missed, and especially when he's playing for a team like Senegal. Senegal are one of the favourites for the tournament. They are definitely going to go far in the tournament. So they are going to be missing him for at least 3 games and as much as 6 games if they go all the way. That's a lot of games in the Premier League season. And when you consider how tightly packed the Premier League season has been so far, that's something to keep an eye on. Up next is Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest are going to be missing 4 players. I think they are going to be missing Ola Aina, they are going to be missing Willy Boli, they are going to be missing Taiwo Awoniyi possibly, and Ibrahim Sangare. As for Taiwo Awoniyi and Willy Boli, they are not regular starters per se, so they are not going to be very, very much missed by Nottingham Forest. But Nottingham Forest are competing in the Europa League, so they are going to feel the pinch of losing 2 valuable squad players to the AFCON. And of course, Ola Aina has also been missing through injury for I think 2 months or so. He has been missing through injury, so that's something else to consider. But when he's fit, he's one of their best players. It remains to be seen how this is going to affect their relegation battle, even though Sean Dyche has steadied the boat a little bit, and I think he has lost just 1 game since he has been appointed as manager. Up next is Burnley. This might be one of the final nails in the coffin for Burnley because their early season form has dissipated over the past few weeks, and they are going to be losing 3 important players that are part of their squad in Lai Foster, Axel Tuanzebe, and Hannibal Medbury. The only positive for them is that these players are not playing in the same position. They are playing in defense, midfield, and attack. So they are not going to miss them as much if they were all midfielders or if they were all defenders. Up next is Fulham. Fulham are one of the teams that at the beginning of the season, if somebody told you that these people are going to be in a relegation battle, you would have questioned them. But lo and behold, they are in a relegation battle and they are going to be losing 3 of their important players to the AFCON. And they are all Nigerians. They are going to be losing Chukwueze, they are going to be losing Iwobi, and they are going to be losing Calvin Bassey. Calvin Bassey is one of their most important players. He's the rock at the back. He's one of the leaders of the defense in that team. And they are going to be losing him to the AFCON. In the Premier League, when Alex Iwobi has a Fulham shirt on, Alex Iwobi is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. When he has a Nigerian shirt on, that's another case entirely. But when he has a Fulham shirt on, he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League and is going to be sorely missed. Up next, we have Everton. Everton are going to be losing at least 2 to 3 players to the AFCON. They are going to be losing Adam Aznou, Iliman Ndiaye, and Idrissa Gueye. For Everton, this is a very, very big blow. The AFCON Could have come at the worst time when Iliman Ndiaye is seen as one of the best players outside of the big 6 in the Premier League. He's seen as one of the best wingers full stop in the Premier League. and is going to be leaving for the AFCON. Idrissa Gueye is another part of their squad that they are going to be losing to the AFCON. Important player for them. He has been there for years. He has been fantastic for them. Although he got a red card for fighting his own teammates over the past week, but they are going to miss him during the AFCON. And in number 3, we have Wolves. Wolves are going to be losing a whopping 5 players to the AFCON. 5 players. And I'm saying it now. At the beginning of the season, I thought Wolves were going to be one of the contenders for relegation. Right now, I think this is going to be good news for Wolves. We are going to see them next season in the championship, because how are you going to survive losing 5 players, although all those 5 players have varying levels of importance? When we talk about Munetsi is one of my favorite players in that team. Fantastic box-to-box midfielder, one of the engines of the team, and a team that is already struggling already. When you lose one of the engines of the team, that's going to be spelling doom for that team. They are also going to be losing Tawanda Chirewa. Sorry, I have to read this out because I don't know how to pronounce his name. They're also going to be losing Tawanda Chirewa, Tolu Arokudare, Emmanuel Agbado, and Jackson Chachua. Bro, that's a handful. That's a lot. That's a real mouthful of names to pronounce in a row. But they are going to be losing all those players to the AFCON. And there's no team that's going to lose 5 players and they're not going to feel it. Even Arsenal, Manchester City, all the big clubs, they lose 5 players to a tournament, they are going to feel it. You are probably wondering where Manchester United were on the list. Manchester United are on number 3. They are going to be missing Brian Mbeumo, Amad Diallo, and Nusa Mazraoui. That's like devastating for a team like Manchester United. Their whole right side is going to the AFCON. Brian Mbeumo, one of the best signings in the Premier League this season, is going to the AFCON. The Cameroon squad list was released today, and Brian Mbeumo was on it. Amad Diallo definitely going to the AFCON. Nusa Mazraoui, one of the first names on the team sheet for Morocco. So it remains to be seen how Ruben Amorim is going to navigate this period of wins. Manchester United have been better this season because obviously they keep trying that system, and if you try a system long enough, you are going to pick up some wins here and there. So they have been playing better, but how is he going to navigate missing 3 important players, 3 starters for the AFCON? And in number 1, we have high-flying Sunderland. Sunderland are missing an insane 7 players. 7 players to the AFCON. Of course, it's not confirmed, yes, but they can lose as much as 7 players to the AFCON. How did they have so many players that are going to be missing? It's crazy. If they miss 7 players to the AFCON, they're probably going to be in the bottom half of the table by the time those players return. That's crazy. Let me look at the players they are going to be missing. They are going to be losing Chemsden Taubi, Renido, Habib Diarra, Simon Adingra, Bertrand Traore, Atom Masuaku, Noah Sadiki. Half of these players are not as important to them, but the other half are some of the most important players to them. Noah Sadiki, Simon Adingra, Habib Diarra. Bro, these players are important. Renido is their free throw merchants. I say free throw. Renido is their long throw merchants. They are going to be losing him to the AFCON. That's crazy. That's going to be wild. This is actually something I'm looking forward to see. How is this going to turn out for Sunderland? Their challenge for Europe is really going to be tested by these absentees. I think they are going to have Granit Xhaka available to still control that midfield. So hopefully he's going to be able to stem the losses of those other players that are going to the AFCON. But they are definitely going to miss Noah Sadiki. Taubi, he just scored the winner against Chelsea the other day. I don't know how they are going to navigate this team, but it remains to be seen. Thank you for watching this video. That's it for today. If you like this video, please drop a like for me. Subscribe, please. When you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That's as important as hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for, if you watch to this point, thank you for watching this to this point, because I don't know if anybody's watching my videos to the end these days, but if you watch to this point, please let me know in the comment section that you were here at this point and you saw this. Thank you. Bye.